All right, welcome back to the SciMax channel. I'm going to tell you about a new and improved app for LitDB. LitDB started out as a command line tool, and it is a literature database for the scientific literature that's integrated with OpenAlex and some LLMs. You can index all kinds of files, and we use embedding vectors to provide semantic similarity search. So the first app was a fairly simple streamlit app just to enable chat. And thanks to some coding agents like Claude Code, I've been able to improve its functionality quite a lot. And so we have, at least as of 2.1.8, which is pretty current on GitHub. Maybe after this, it'll be 2.1.9. We have this left bar. You can get to the Git repo. You can look at report issues. You launch this by litdb space app in your terminal. And then we have all of these options over here. And so I'll just show you a few of them here. We do yeast media optimization. This uses embedding vectors for this to find these articles that are similar to it. And these are done by semantic search. You can have a drop down for full text search and you get a different set of results. And you can also choose hybrid, which will have a mix of the vector search and the full text search. And then there is an iterative search option. I won't run this. It downloads all of the articles and papers, citations and related for these, which often leads you to more relevant papers that are in the literature to help you find them. You can also do an OpenAlex search. So here, this is a pretty thin wrapper around the website. The main reason for this is that if you go to one of these drop downs, you get this information. You can click on Add to Library, add references, add citing, add related, etc. So it's kind of an easy way to just click on this and it should have added. Suggest reviewers. Here you might paste an abstract in here, and what this will do is find the papers and then give you a h-index sorted. I know h-index is not perfect, but it's a good proxy for seniority and gives you an idea of how many papers they've worked on, and you might get some inspiration from some of these authors if you're looking for reviewers for your paper. Chat, this is what we had before. This is like using ChatGPT or Claude just in this browser and using your references from your LitDB for the answers. This is tied to an API key, so you have to have a subscription to an API for that. I don't know if the library browser is super helpful. You can look at recent additions by tags, by timeline. This gives you just a way to browse what's in your library. And then filters is something that is pretty helpful. You can save filters and then update them to see what's new. Being able to update new requires you to have an OpenAlex API key, because that's a feature that normally is reserved for people who pay for the key. You may be able to email them and see to get a key. Otherwise, that feature doesn't work. So this was last updated today, and I can load articles from here and see what articles I have in this particular filter. The stats is kind of interesting. Here I have almost 83,000 sources. That's mostly because I have iteratively searched and added references and citations and related while I build this. There's an export tab that you can use to export some to generate a BibTeX file. Probably should have mentioned up here. If you look at one of these, there's also a copy citation and copy BibTeX. This might be useful if you're working in Overleaf and trying to do something. The citation's only like a little bit useful. There's not really a good option now to change the format to different journals, but if you want something kind of quick and dirty, that's probably okay. I did add a deep research option. You can do either GPT Researcher or these Future House drop downs. If you have a Future House API key, you can set that up, and this will run. Let's say yeast media optimization. This isn't the fastest kind of thing because it has to do a lot of different web searches and correlate some things. So, and maybe we'll see in a minute if I come back if it's still running. You can add new content from a DOI, from an orc ID, a bibtec, or a file, or maybe even you should be able to do this with a directory. And last, I'll show you this feature that I liked from before. Let me just copy my orc ID. If you put your orc ID in here, then we can press generate COA, and this will take a few minutes depending on your publication count. And then we should get a link, a button to push, and then if I open this, you can see this generated something that's pretty close to what is required for NSF in terms of an alphabetical list of collaborators, co-authors, reasonable list of where those places are from. You have to manually curate some of this. Usually they ask you to remove things like people from your own institution, and some of these are not 100% accurate because of the way affiliations are tracked in OpenAlex. But these are the last 4 years of co-authors, and at 171, like this one, I know this one should read meta, but maybe Larry was at New York University at some point for some reason, or there was a mistake in OpenAlex. So this is pretty helpful just to get you in the right ballpark of having to curate these things. That's a pretty tedious set of activities. Anyway, you can see there's a lot of different features and submenus, and I've tested a lot of them, but not all of them. So if you find any errors, just you can report an issue up here. This should take you right to the LitDB issues, and we can start to work on addressing some of those so that it just keeps on getting better and better. All right, so that is it. That is the update for LitDB right now. It has been pretty fun working with it, and still a tool I use on a regular basis. Oh yeah, let's go back and see if what's happening here. That still looks like it's still running. So it might take a few minutes. Maybe I'll just let it run and see if anything comes up that could be interesting to review. I can see, we can watch over here in this terminal, it's sort of running along, so it's actually doing quite a lot of work for us, and this report should appear in the app. This is the terminal that I ran it in. All right, so seems like there's some weird things with author AA here. Let's see what we get. We have a comprehensive report. There's some, that seems kind of suspicious. Social media analytics, that doesn't seem right. Some of these might be better than others. Probably deep research in Claude or OpenAI, ChatGPT is better across the board, but I have seen GPT Researcher does pretty well on some of the benchmarks for it. So you do get links to actual references. Something is definitely weird where it says author AA. I don't know where that's coming from, but these are all reasonable growth laws and variants. these are at least correct titles, and the links take you to things that you may find interesting. This was pretty cheap, 7 cents. It does give you some links to the sources it used, so you can decide, how relevant these are. And then these are the actual sources. So there could be some, room for improvement in here. This is a pretty thin wrapper around GPT Researcher just to get it in here. And like I said, you can also try some of the Future House ones. I haven't tried this one actually in a while. Let's see. If you click the other one, ask for refinements, it will ask you for questions, or ask you questions. Okay, so I think I don't have the... Oh, you know what? I saw Future House might be down this week, so I probably should have remembered that. They're doing some infrastructure updates. So maybe in another week we can try that again. All right, so that's it for the update on the LitDB app. You should be able to pip install the latest LitDB and have that new app available, or you can get it from the GitHub site.